I have a question for the cast. I'm wondering if I will receive a favorable outcome for a financial legal lawsuit that I'm involved in for a personal injury case. The accident was April 28th, 2021. I've had to have 4 surgeries. The case is still pending, and I'm just hoping for some guidance. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
So there's a lot of different things that I did here, just like exploring the nature of the question. And so one thing that I'm about to say might feel a little complex over people's heads. And so my invitation to you, if it is, don't listen or just listen to the words that I'm saying, maybe write them down and go study more later. Anyway, the first thing that I did was look at what rules money for the second part of life. And so I used a triplicity lord technique in Mercury ruling this money for the second part of life, specifically in the 9th house. And so something about like lawsuits or like having to do with money, like is going to have to do with the second part of life, even though Mercury's ruling the second house in general when it comes to money. So that was something that I like kind of like put that in my back pocket to see what was going to be going on. I also looked at what was going on the past few years before that to look where Mercury was doing. And Mercury in the solar return chart for 2020 was in the 8th house of surgery in its fall, conjunct the South Node. And then when I went to the chart for 2021, Mercury was in Sagittarius again, in the 8th house, in its detriment. So money again, going to surgery. And then I came to the last solar return, and the Mercury's in the 9th house of lawsuits and stuff like that. And also the ascendant for this year is in the 9th house. And Venus is conjunct the ascendant. In my assessment, there will be like some strong change that happens within the next few months. And it will end up being that the money and the native or stargazer are coming together. So that was very technical, but that's all what I have to share right now. There was a lot of other stuff, but that's what I'll share for now.
Absolutely. I love looking at charts in order to give us a perspective of what was happening at the present moment. And so when I took a look at your charts, Stargazer, along with the chart of the accident itself, the accident happened at a time when Saturn was exactly conjunct your Chiron, square to your ascendant, and also square to Uranus, which was transiting your south node. And that, of course, is a strong signature of accidents. Uranus can correspond to that. But then I thought, oh, well, what Saturn, this is long-term rehabilitation, Chiron to a wound, injury that's caused, and you're looking for a resolution of personal injury. And we would look for resources coming into the 8th house, which is also in your chart, Jupiter ruled house. And when I think about things that take a long time to resolve themselves, for me, it's important to consider what might be in the way. This was one of my curiosities in terms of what's slowing down or blocking both your healing experience and the resolution of the financial piece. But that made me want to look at the retrogrades, because retrogrades are usually intensified periods of soul evolution, or periods of time where the problems of our life, so here the problem might be the injury, the accident, the delay, are forced into situations of resolution. And that was your question. Is my financial issue going to be resolved? And what's interesting to me is Venus is the ruler of your ascendant. She was present with Uranus in the 1st house at the time of your accident. She will be stationing for her retrograde on your natal moon in Leo in the coming weeks. And then Jupiter, who's the ruler of your 8th house, who will be also moving through the sign of Taurus, the same place where Venus was at the time of your accident, in fact, at the same degree of where Uranus was at the time of your accident, will also be coming through in the transits 3 times because of a retrograde cycle. And Venus was squaring Uranus in your chart. Jupiter now is going to be squaring Uranus is today. In fact, today is the first of the exact squares to Uranus. So this to me indicates that the process itself of resolution for this accident is underway. You have Mars currently transiting your natal moon, and I understand that you just had another surgery. That makes sense. Mars is moving towards your Pluto. Obviously, these surgeries and the accident and the crisis itself is a deeper part of your own soul evolution. It behooves me to say whatever is happening in terms of this resolution, whether you get the money or not, on a soul level, you're growing and healing. And the story of Chiron in particular is an interesting one because Chiron became a master. And here you had Saturn on your Chiron in the 10th house. And I wonder how this has affected your career, and I'm sure it has, because anyone who has health challenges or limitations we have to prioritize our healing in order to be able to return to a sense of receiving resources. And I hope for your sake that this does resolve in you receiving the resources. One of the things that I notice is that Jupiter is going to go back and forth over your ascendant, squaring your Uranus three times, and Venus doing the same thing over your moon. To me, this indicates a deeper resolution that also leads you to feeling more wholeness in yourself and more self-love and more connection to the lessons that you've learned as a result of this accident. So I hope for your sake that you also receive the blessings of Jupiter and the resources to support you in whatever growth you're going through right now.
Nice. Thank you so much, guys. Let's bring a stargazer on so we can have a little chat. How did that resonate, stargazer?
It's hopeful. That's what I was looking for, was some hope. When I think it was in 2015, I had a triple lumbar fusion. At the time, I had been a massage therapist for 15 years, having left a corporate finance job to save my soul. And it was shattering to realize as a single mom that all of a sudden I had to figure something out. And luckily, my chart does have resourcefulness. And I always look at, I have enough. I have enough of what I need. And in one blessing, this whole time of basically not being able to work is I feel like I've had the gift of being able to explore my soul, which when I was, working 3 jobs and as a single mom and working 80 hours a week in corporate finance, I just couldn't. So it's like, okay, there's been a trade-off. But, I'm hoping to have grandchildren soon, and I just want to be able to be physically present.
Yeah. It looks hopeful to me for sure. Even the second house in your solar return chart for this year has Saturn and Aquarius strong in the 11th house of hopes, dreams, and wishes. So it kind of like even feels like that like vibe that you're talking about, So yeah. And also Jupiter is in a nicer place, which had to do with like all the surgeries from before. And now it's in the solar return chart, it's in Pisces. Whereas before it was in the Saturn ruled signs, which was in the house of surgery as well. So without doubt, things are turning for a more positive experience.
I've always felt that resilience was my superpower.
Yeah. And with the resolutions of things, especially with retrogrades, it's important to keep in mind that what might seem like it's a breakdown or it's not working or a missed thing is an actual course correction or a resolution or a fix. And so it's like if the paperwork was delayed or the thing didn't go through or you get a response that you have to do something again, it's because there's some deeper thing that needs to be fixed in order for it to be resolved. And if you see this time, especially as just like really your own soul's resolution towards greater self-reliance and stability, but also resources matching you and taking all the lessons that you've had and making them become growth and, peace of mind and stability, then whatever the outcome is, it will naturally benefit you. Like I can see it just bringing more blessings into your life no matter what.
The lawyer keeps saying nothing's going to get resolved until the surgeries are over.
Yeah.
So until the healing's kind of done to a point where they can assess any kind of permanent issue, it's going to just be ongoing. In the meantime, I'm just hanging on.
Yeah. And that makes sense too, because even like I was saying, like I did do like a horary chart for it as well. And so it has you as Mercury, and then it has Venus as like the lawsuit as well as the money and the finances. And the Venus is like still slowing down to go backwards. And then it has you being Mercury, and then soon y'all are coming together. Even though it looks like right now, like Jupiter's representing the other people in the lawsuit, and like Venus is closer to them in this moment. But as Venus starts to go backwards, Mercury passes that Jupiter. So it touches that Jupiter and exchanges something with that Jupiter, but then it also goes and connects with the money and the finances in the chart and having to do with the lawsuit in the chart as well.
Mercury makes sense because they need information. And they can't get information about disability or whatever until everything's resolved, and here we are.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, Mercury will be retrograde in Virgo the next time it's retrograde, and the last time it was retrograde in Taurus. So all these retrograde periods are deeply personal to your resolution in terms of their placements and how they're working with your chart.
Yeah.
Nice. How did that feel, Stargazer? Do you feel like you're solid? You have an understanding of how to move forward from here on out?
Well, it's definitely helpful to see a map forward where I can not give up and not lose my hope and just keep, my biggest job is trying to get better physically, but it takes a toll mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, if you do need like more assistance with that process, especially depending on like the physical therapist that you're working with, feel free to reach out and let me know too, because a lot of times there's like very simple things that we can be doing that can help us cultivate like recovery and restoration that just a lot of like I guess we could say conventional licensed physicians, they don't even know about it because they weren't taught it, right? All they know is what they know. So feel free to reach out on Astrologer Connect and let me know, because like I've been getting like really, really good at it. I'm like taking 2 courses right now on how to take people like through these like processes of like just even us like people learning how to stand. As of where I've started working with like all the way to people trying to like learn handstands. And so I'm trying to fill in that gap. So feel free to reach out too as well.
Thank you so much. At the time I was working as a massage therapist and working with an acupuncturist as a colleague. And the biggest tip he gave me was organic bone broth. And I tell all my doctors, that's my secret is organic bone broth.
Nice.
And it helps.
Yeah. I have like 5 more secrets. We can talk about it. We can talk about it another time because bone broth though, amazing. Yeah. Like, the addition to that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your guidance. I'll reach out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.